Alright, so last week I noticed that my water pump on my generator was leaking. The Johnson pump here is what the schematics online showed as the replacement for it. The Westerbeke was like $500 for the original OEM, and this was supposed to be a upgraded replacement, and it was only $160. Now I could have just replaced the seals, pulled the bearings out, pulled the seals out. I think the seal kit was like $80. Plus, I figured it would have taken me a couple of hours of time I really didn't have last week. So for $160, I figured, for $80 more, let's just get the new pump. So let's get in there and see what we got. All right, I'm down here in the hole. Here is the generator. The water pump couldn't be in a harder place to get to. It is down behind and right in here. So that's going to be a lot of fun to get out of here. I'm going to have to take a couple hoses off, and we'll see what happens. First things first, I have to close my seacock, make sure I don't sink the boat. Let me grab a wrench. Alright, so the easiest way I found to do this is with a real long adjustable wrench. I just put the hole over the end of the nozzle. If it doesn't move, you just use it kind of like a hammer. Alright, so that is off. Again, verify that is indeed the correct thing. Goes up to this filter over into the generator, so we're good. Water is off. Now I can start on removing the pump. Alright, so I've never actually removed one of these before, but we're just going to kind of remove what we got to get and get the hoses off, and then we'll see what's left. So first I need to remove the hose clamps. And there is only one hose clamp on here, which is surprising. Anytime I'm dealing with input of water, I usually like to have two. So I may need to add an additional one onto here as well. That way it just gives me peace of mind that if anything breaks. And the reason they may not have done that is the filter's upstream of it. So if I look, and I can kind of see, the filter over there looks like it has two on each side. So my guess is that's their thought on here. You wouldn't have direct water flow, I guess. Alright, let's get this input hose off. Oh, hoses are always a pain. Let me grab a pair of channel locks. Channel locks are always good just to help break those hoses loose. Let's see if that does it. There we go. Alright, input hose is off. Let's see what we got here now. I'm hoping that one hose isn't going to be in the way. There's one painted red. It might be, though. So the next thing is to get this hose. This is the output hose from the water pump. Get that off. And once I have this off, I need to figure out where the bolts are to get the water pump itself off. That'll be my next step, to get that unbolted and see if I can slide it around the other hoses, or if I need to start removing hoses to get to it. I'm really hoping not to have to do that, just because A, it's a pain, and B, anytime you touch something that you don't have to touch, there's a risk of damage or crack or, whatever might happen. Alright, so I've got that loose. Oh, this hose is in a much more difficult location to get to. Alright, I'm going to have to get some channel locks in there. I'll come back once I've got that off. Alright, so I got that hose off. Now there's 2 bolts. I don't know if you can see with my hand here, but there's going to be 2 bolts tucked behind this thing that I need to get off. First I need to figure out where they even are. And that's where it would be helpful to not have. There's one up top, and the other one's right below. What's the chance that it's the same size? Actually, I'm probably going to need an extension here. They're kind of tucked away. Alright, so it looks like these 2 bolts are 3/8, but I think the problem I'm going to have is my extension is too thick. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it in there. Let's see. I might be able to get it. Let's see. This boat was in salt water before I owned it. So, of course, everything's a little bit rusty. The bolt appears to be coming out. Not necessarily willingly, but somewhat. Just going to be careful not to break it off because I don't want a bigger project. This might take a while. It's coming out, but slowly. Unfortunately, I can only get like a quarter turn at most with everything that's down here. Let's try it this way. I'm not sure that that's coming out. Alright, let me try to get this out there and I'll come back. Alright, good news is I made a stupid mistake. So I didn't realize that those bolts weren't into the body of the generator. They're actually just going through a plate with a nut on the outside. So I'm going to try to get a circle wrench back there on it to hold it while I undo it. Let's see. It is very tight behind it, but these circle wrenches should fit, hopefully. Okay, I think that's on. Oh, circle wrench is not on. Alright, there. Oh boy, I really wish I had the ability just to pull this thing out to work on it. Alright, the circle wrench may be too big. Let's try a size smaller, and I'll come back once I've got that off. Alright, well, this has been a challenge. So, apparently, this is metric. I probably should have known that since this is a Westerbeke. But I have mostly standard wrenches and sockets. So I did find a couple of 10mm sockets that fit both the nut and the bolt. Problem is I only have one small ratchet. So I got vice grips on the one. I'm using the ratchet on the other. And I think I've just about got it done. There we go. Alright, now with both bolts out, in a perfect world, this would come right off. But there is this pipe behind it. Alright. I don't know if there's a trick to getting it off the pulley. Let's see, I can get it right out. There we go. And now I can take it where I can see. Hallelujah. Alright, so it looks like there is a Allen key that is needed to loosen the pulley from the water pump. So let me get that and do that now. Alright, so I needed to employ the help of the marina mechanic. He had to torch the set screw there to get that out, and then put it in a vise to get the ends out, and now I need to spray paint it. Alright, so I spray painted it. Just need to wait for it to dry. Didn't do the bottom half of the pulley, only the top half. And so once it's dry, I can put it back together, toss it on the boat, and see if my leak is fixed. Alright, well, 6 hours later, and I finally gave up. It turns out the new pump that I bought that was supposed to be a direct replacement, the rear end of it was about 2 inches shorter than the old one, which put one of the elbows that connected right in line with the belt guide bar that was there. So there was no way it was going to fit. Of course, I tried for God knows how long to try to get it to fit, not realizing that, because when I first got it, I did check to make sure the holes, the mounting holes lined up, the shaft was the same size, everything else was the same. Thought I was good to go. I didn't even think to check the rear of the pump to see how far off the elbows came from the mounting holes. So long story short, I got it all off, got the new one. I had to actually use the mechanic here had to use a torch to get the set screw off that holds the pulley on. Luckily, everything still worked on the old pump, got it hooked back up, and much to my surprise, the leak I had, which is the whole reason for doing this, doesn't seem to be happening now. That being said, now that I know what I'm doing, and I've done it once, or twice, or 3 times, if I can get the right part, I think the replacement should only take probably half an hour to do with the right part. So, for now, we're good for this next week's trip to Wilson. We're going to be headed to Wilson on Wednesday if the weather cooperates for the, what's the name of the event, Teresa? It's the All Girls event. Reelin' for Cure. All Girls tournament. So we're allowed to have 2 men. So Wayne and I will be captain and rod setter, I guess. And then the girls have to do everything else for the tournament. So we're looking forward to that. It's for a good cause. And we're excited for the trip. So generator's functional, and I'll tackle the water pump again another day. All right, hope everybody is staying safe in this rough water. I know there's a big tournament this weekend with He Who Shall Not Be Named, and hopefully you guys are safe out there, and good luck to everybody.